Data, right? I'm going to tell you about where this started because I love spreadsheets and numbers. And, so I was working in a miserable place, a call center, a terrible place. And see, dealing with the public is one thing, but then you have the higher-ups who are looking at data. They download all of this data, and then they go behind the black curtain, and then they're looking, and then they see, okay, 63 calls. That's not enough. But what does 63 mean? It's lower than 100, it's over 25, but what does 63 mean? And if it was a football game, it means somebody took an ass whooping. But what did that mean for us? We didn't know. So I just knew that I was working hard. But does that work? Do you go say, I'm working hard? 63 is what I can do. No. So I figured I can complain. That's not going to work. If I show up one day with some nunchucks, I'm going to be the violent former employee. So what about this data thing? So I opened up this thing called Excel and started to log everything I did for a week. So who called and placed an order? Who called and made 1,000,000 questions and didn't order anything? Who had some complicated question? State regulations, federal regulations, orders that didn't show up on time. I paid for overnight and it didn't show up overnight. I want a refund. All of this stuff is going on. And that's what I found out was in this 63. And people were forwarding calls to me, right? So, yeah, you call to place an order, okay, great. You call with something complicated, pass it to Oz. Okay, so he's got 100 and he's getting the prizes and everything, and this is my 63. But I had the data now. I had it, and I could see that less than a quarter of what I was dealing with was easy calls. I had a lot of complicated stuff that I loved solving these problems for these people, but I had to get these people off my ass talking about this 63. So I had to figure, once I've got this data, who needs to see it? Because you need a willingness, right? You have to have some pull to do something if you do want to make some change, and you have to understand data. Not everybody understands data. So here's me right here. I'll get in the slide. Okay, so here's me, and then there's a supervisor, the director, the CEO. Now, am I going to be the difficult employee that leapfrogs 2 people and sends that data? Now here, I planned this before I knew Erica was going to be here. But this is the situation I was in. Was I willing to die in this ditch? If I send this information to the CEO, I could get walked down to HR. Am I willing to walk down to HR and tell them what the hell is in this 63? So I did. I was willing. I pulled the trigger. And the CEO and I did have a couple of conversations, and they were good. I was right. He did care. He wanted to make a difference. He understood the data. So we had some conversations. And I can't say how influential my data was in the changes that were made, because there was some personnel changes. Calls started getting routed differently. A lot of things happened. But I started getting selected for different roles that called for more data, calculating commissions, digging up data. For the last 6 months at that job, I didn't have a title. I was the "can you get this data for me" guy. And I loved it because I could and get it in a shape to where they can use it and see to go talk with a client. You say you're buying all of this stuff, and we say bullshit because Oz got the data, and here it is. And that's where I started to love working with Excel and data, because there's just no words for it, what you can do with data. I mean, I almost like data as much as I like. But anyway, so that's it. Get your data together, people.